Welcome to BioTrek Travel. We are Pierre, Lisa, and fur baby Tiller. We've sailed across oceans, explored remote atolls, and lived at anchor. Now we're trading blue water passages for the great loop lakes and locks. Come along as the journey begins. In our last video, we took possession of our yacht. Tiller, am I not allowed to speak? In our last video, we took possession of our new 2019 Riviera yacht, so new for us, in Mystic, Connecticut, and we sailed it to Newport, Rhode Island. And in this video, we're starting to do the modifications to make it our boat. Now, this is going to be kind of a technical video, so I hope you enjoy learning a bit about electrical modifications. Pierre is going to be talking about what he's doing to add lithium battery bank to the boat. During the inspection of the boat, Pierre was already thinking about how he could modify the electrical system so we wouldn't have to run the generator all the time, even when we're at anchor. So we're getting lots of things done on our new boat. We've emptied the water tanks and given them a chlorine shock. We're going to get ready to winterize the water system, whether we just do the entire boat or try to keep the galley water going, we're trying to figure out. And of course, Pierre's in the engine room looking at how he can add more inverters and batteries so we don't have to run the generator all the time. Tiller is loving the boat. Tiller is just loving the boat, yeah, because she gets to sit outside and watch the goings on in the marina. And yeah, we look forward to coming down on the weekends and working on the boat over the winter. And it's a beautiful shipyard here. It's a working shipyard here at the Safe Harbor Newport shipyard, with the restaurant open until December, and then of course there's lots of stuff in town, so a nice place to keep our boat, and we're looking forward to spending lots of time on it. Next job, clean the mold out of this outdoor fridge. Getting all the cushions in so they can stay dry for the winter. Are you looking in here too, Tiller? What are you doing in here?
Doing the battery cable.
Let's see.
One time I left it on the boat in my toolbox was my heat gun. Because now I need the heat gun to shrink those guys.
Do you want me to go buy a heat gun?
I don't know where to find that.
Home Depot.
I've already put, these spacers in between. Then I have a big, this will
Let
go.
me see the spacer. Here. Oh, yes.
Okay. And then this will be pushed back against the firewall. And then I have this big top that goes on top of the battery. This will become my workbench. So this thing is going to be strapped down really
it'll
hard.
Be strapped down so
yeah.
it won't, they won't move.
Yeah, they won't move at all.
Okay.
Anyway, so.
What's all that?
That's battery cable, high power battery cable.
For what?
To do because right now I'm setting everything up into low power mode. But once you go into power mode, we have to double these. These are 4 odd, and you have to do 2 of those per leg.
Leg of what?
The minus is a leg, the plus is a leg.
Going where?
To the MG BMS over there.
And then where does it go?
Goes and feeds the whole boat.
Big cables for the whole boat?
No, it feeds the whole boat. It feeds all of the other devices there. The 2 inverters at the top, which are the one on the left will be leg L1 on the 240, and the other inverter will be leg 2 of the 240.
Were those there, or did you install them?
No, these are the one I bought.
Oh, so you've installed them on the wall already?
Oh yeah. Right now they're charging the house battery. These are the old batteries that I'm keeping there temporarily. But if everything goes well, I should be able to transfer the house load to these batteries today.
Hello, everyone. We thought, Lisa and I thought it would be a nice time now to speak about some of the interesting aspect that we discovered when we took purchase. When we purchased this latest vessel, the Riviera 5400. About 57-foot long boat, built in Australia. Riviera is one of the better boat builders around the world. They're extremely high volume. I think they've built over 6,000 boats. So they have a good reputation and they're used to sailing in marginal weather, cold and warm from the southern or northern part of Australia. So I have to say that I'm very impressed with the build quality and everything else. And I, of course, being a racer by background, I find that they tend to be a little bit easy on the weight issue. You know, a lot of aspect, they could save a lot of weight on the boat and increase the performance, thus decreasing the fuel flow required to get it on the plane. But that's probably a minor detail when you think about safety being a primary factor. But what I wanted to speak to you guys about today is the issues about the electrical system of these boats built in Australia compared to the US system, which is a bit of an issue. I've discovered by speaking with and being on a few other power boats of the same range recently that their modus operandi, if you want to allow a little bit of Latin in there, is to basically have EC running all the time on the boat. So when they are at the dock, you will also very often see them as soon as they tie into the dock. First thing they do is they reach over power cord, plug into that big 50 amp, 240 volts plug on the dock, and then as soon as it's up and running, they shut down the generator. And before they leave, first thing they do is they shut the generator. So engines, despite the fact that they are large engines, are basically not used to their potential at all, and they end up running the generator pretty well the whole time while they're at sea, whether it's at anchor, whether it's powering, which for me was a little bit still today is a little bit difficult to accept, knowing the inefficiency of the systems and understanding the house loads on the boat that are still managed mostly through EC. So, but that's something that we can deal with up to a point. Yes, they have multiple air conditioning. They're used to running them all the time, whether it's heat mode or cool mode, and the ventilation is not, one of the highest aspect, or the natural ventilation, I should say, that on the boat. And the solar is also very restricted for several reasons, but technology is evolving. But my bigger issue that I want to cover with you guys is the difference between the European/Australian type of electrical power, which is mostly 230, 240 volts, as 50 or 60 hertz. All of that is minor if you plan the boat equipment properly. What is more of an issue is in the US. They still think in terms of 120 volts. And I think on a boat, because that's what people have in the houses. But the problem is all the houses are being fed 240 at the outset. And then once they feed the power into a house, they put a ground, copper pipe in the ground, and they create their own neutral. They bind in the neutral and the ground at the start of the house, and then they feed the whole house with what we think is 120, but in fact it's 240 everywhere with a split in the middle. And they try to even up the loads on the house. So there's a false understanding of the technology in the US where everything has to be 120, when in fact everything should be 240 with the house plugs at 120 and the small loads at 120, but who cares about the small loads? So it makes for a much more efficient system because you don't have that issue like you have in Europe or in Australia of having the ground and the neutral linked on the surface at the marina, and then having the power fed down the dock to the boat, which tends to drift up. The neutral leg will drift up and the high voltage will drift down. They both meet where the boat is, and then we end up having large differences between the neutral and the ground, which creates galvanic issues, among others, the risk of electrocution if we're in fresh water, and a whole slew of other reasons. So to make a long story short, for me, not using the engines while we're to generate power to feed the battery and having the proper set of inverters 240 volts in this case, feeding the whole boat, is a little bit ludicrous. I mean, that's the first thing you do, which is what I'm in the process of doing right now, is replacing the lead acid battery bank, very small, to a fairly powerful 35 kilowatt hour battery bank, lithium ion battery bank, Lloyd's approved, of course. Where safety is extremely important. And the idea, of course, is to restrict where the high power goes, because you still have to deal with the fact that lithium doesn't mix with lead acid battery very well. The amount of power available, from a lithium battery is in thousands of amps, and lead acid battery will accept that, and quite easily on the up and downs, but the contactors can't deal with that unless you change everything to high power contactors. And the same thing for the fuses, which should be changed to electronic type extremely fast fuses, so that you don't have the spike in a few thousand amps when you're closing a relay, opening a relay. And it should also be part of the systems where you always pre-charge before you close a contactor. All things which are not normally done in the marine field because people are not aware of the issues. So long story short, we're back at the beginning there, where how do we deal with the Riviera yacht? I didn't want to start to rewire the whole boat, because first, it's a lot of work, and second, I understand Riviera's philosophy after having built 6,000 boats, where they want to be able to offer their clients help if they have technical issues, and when somebody comes up and start to rewiring everything, then they can't help anymore because they don't understand what was done in the first place, assuming it was done according to the book. So what we ended up doing, and that's what Lisa's video is a little bit about right now, is we ended up trying to duplicate their system into the North American system, where they're working with 120 in principle. So instead of installing, just like we did in BioTrek, 240 volts type inverters, and then having a simple Acme transformer, taking the 240 down to two leg of 120, left and right, with a center tap on it, which is the one that goes to the ground and the neutral, which made it very, very simple, and was compatible anywhere around the world. In doing this on the Riviera would have complicated things a lot because of the way they've designed the system already, and I didn't want to go too far. I'm trying to restrict all the modifications into a small area on the boat. So what we ended up doing is getting two of those 120 inverters in split phase mode, and that's very much for the American market that I'm speaking about right now, because it's not an issue for the rest of the world. Not quite, almost. So we have the two big inverters, 120 volts on the side of the wall now, which is 240, but we're feeding what's coming from the generator, which is the two leg L1, L2 plus neutral that goes in the middle. And then we do split phase programming on the inverters so that we do maintain the 240 volts on the boat, but everything is fed to two legs of 120 volts. So it allows us to not have to change anything on the Riviera the way it's been modified for the US market, and just use it as it was wired at the factory. So it's a bit of work, but trying to confine it into as much of a small area as possible, going from the battery directly to the battery BMS, which is now responsible for opening and closing and pre-charge of the system, electrical system, and that point, then at the output, all of the high power alternators on the engines that go up to the BMS, and the batteries that go up to the BMS on the input side or on the output side for the rest of the boat and everything else, and have the output of the BMS feed the rest of the boat. So which is a little bit, the proper way to do it, to make sure that everything IAMP is dealt with IAMP type of technology, whether it's, fuses, high-speed fuses, whether it's with a pre-charge system, and also the big, airtight neutral contactors. So that's a little bit what we're doing now. It's an interesting project, trying to understand, okay, now how do we deal with this? And trying to make that power boat as efficient as possible from now on, meaning that once we leave the dock, the inverters and the battery bank has the capacity to maintain the boat for several hours all by itself, without anything running. And as soon as we start an engine, which we know power boats most of the time, if they're going at any fair distance, have the engines running, and having powerful alternators will easily be able to power the battery bank, which brings it back to feeding the rest of the boat, either charging the batteries and then feeding the rest of the boat. So, long story short, that's about it for now. We'll keep you posted on how things are evolving. What?
You said they have to be in the right order.
Yep.
You're following this.
Yep. The B standard, AT&T.
So I have a part of the video where you were doing those like internet cables for the system. What are those going to be for?
Well, the internet cables are internet cable. That's all it is. It's just, the way they're doing it, it's 8 connectors that you have to split
But
properly.
is that for the battery system?
Among other things, that's just communication. That's communication between all the devices.
Between the BMS and the other device? Like what's being communicated with those?
Most of the time it's CAN bus communication now.
Those are for the CAN bus communication. Okay.
Yeah. Because a lot of manufacturers, instead of using the real CAN bus cable,
And CAN bus between what and what? Just, if I don't know, maybe our viewers don't know.
Well, the battery system is at its own proprietary CAN bus that goes in between all the batteries in the BMS. And then the BMS also feeds a secondary CAN bus, which is optically insulated, that feeds whatever we want to do into the boat, which is NMEA 2000 compliant. So technically, we should be able to connect that with anything else, which is NMEA 2000 on the boat. In this case, it's a C-Zone or BNG or, or Garmin or whatever they want. Everybody is finally standardizing on CAN bus, which is, of course, not the best communication, but at the moment, that's what the standard is. And that's what I was doing. I very often, technician will go in with a 30-foot cable and to go in between 2 devices which are 3 feet apart. And just to save time, they'll just take the cable and wrap it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth inside the conduit, co-located with high power cable, which you should never do, and then just plug into the 2 devices. So that generates a lot of noise on the network. And the CAN bus is very susceptible to noise because of the low voltage they have. And anyway, so that's what I was doing, is just making those cables a lot shorter so that we don't end up with all of these issues, trying to relocate them away from the high power cable and then just making them a lot shorter so that they're not so susceptible to these errors.
Lunch at the local restaurant at the marina.
By the boat.
Beside the boat.
You used to have the 2 big domes for satellite communication, which were both removed.
Yeah.
So I put it right on top of the place where they used to have the other dome. And the Starlink is on the right side.
And what's inside that little dome again?
That's a router, is there, plus it has Wi-Fi, plus cellular communication. And it does, of course, all of the communication, the HCP.
And do we know what our draft is with the antennas up? Because I assume that the antennas down that we have the draft.
It's 16 up to the end of that white line there.
Oh, so we're getting below 20 easy.
Oh, yeah.
It's brisk today.
It's very warm. But it's always busy.
I know, but I wasn't here last week.
Yeah, a good place to tie them up. Have a look here. Because we could use the strap to pull them up.
The Dyneema, you think it's strong enough? Oh no, that's going to ruin that. Here, it's not strong enough.
No.
All right, he wants to get the old battery out. And they weigh 140 pounds each. And I'm scared because it's too heavy. But he got all the new ones down in the engine room all by himself. So let's see what's going to happen with this. Here are the other 2 old ones that he got up by himself. How did you get these ones up, Pierre? How did you get these out?
By myself?
Did you have someone? You didn't have someone help you?
No. Take it from there to there is really easy.
I don't know. Are we going to do both tonight? Maybe one today and one tomorrow. Okay, it's watching all the life. But you're doing that instead of going to the gym. One more. So we have the 4 batteries. Job well done. We welcome any comments and would like to know what you think about the technical content.